Extremely sorry because of some technical issues, we could not start the session on time. So extremely sorry for that, and then we will get started. So let me share my screen. Can I get a confirmation whether you are able to see my screen? It is Exploratory Data Analysis EDA. Are you able to see my screen? Can I get the confirmation? Okay. Okay. Fine. So let's get started. So let me start with the introduction. So I could see people joining in. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Great. Okay, we'll get started. So today's session is about exploratory data analysis, which is EDA. So myself, Raghu Prasad, I'm the subject matter expert, and a brief introduction about me. So I have done my BE and MS, and I have overall 24 years of experience. I am into IT from last 17 years, and before coming to the IT, I was a lecturer in an engineering college, and I worked with various companies like Cisco, CSC, ICSC, First Apex, worked with various capacities, and I started my career as a Java developer, and then moved higher up in the hierarchy. So like project lead, program manager, project manager, and then solution architect. And worked in various technologies, executing multiple projects. So currently, I'm working on Python, AI, and ML projects. And there are many other technologies also I worked on. The current focus is on the Python and machine learning. And in today's session, we will be discussing about what is called as exploratory data analysis. So what is data analysis? And then exploratory data analysis and introduction to data science. And then introduction to various libraries associated with exploratory data analysis of Python, namely Pandas and Matplotlib. And then I would be doing some kind of a hands-on or demonstrating few of the things. Okay, so when we see exploratory data analysis, what is exploratory data analysis? It is nothing but a process of performing the. So we have nowadays, like we have a lot of data. The business wants to basically understand and analyze the data. So just a minute, let me pause this. Okay, yeah, able to see, able to hear, right? Okay. See now, like business has the data. When we say exploratory data analysis, it is basically to discover the pattern in the data. See, earlier, like we used to have the data, mostly the data is stored in a form of a database using some SQLs. But now we have a lot of data coming in different forms. So data is, every one of us is generating data through social media, through blogs, through videos, audios, and as a customer of some particular company, so we are also generating a lot of data. Also, the data is generated by some electronic devices, sensors, and all those things. So when we get this much data, so it is important for the business to understand the data, analyze the data, explore the data, and see how this data could be used to basically understand the hidden patterns. So for that purpose, basically the objective of exploratory data analysis is to discover the patterns suppose as a company, I want to know what my customer is talking about me, about my services, about my products. And is there any anomaly or any kind of what you can call it as abnormality in the service? Also do some kind of a text. So do you see that whether whatever we have assumed, is it correct or not? So there is basically we are going to do the exploration of the data using univariate analysis or bivariate analysis, where we are going to take the individual data elements and then analyze and then compare with other elements. So from that respect, when we say exploratory data analysis, basically we would be understanding some of the statistical terms also, like trends, the distribution, how the data is distributed, what is the mean and what is the median, what are the outliers. Suppose if we are getting the data, so let us say a student has to score marks between 0 and 100. Suppose if I get some student getting marks 110, we call it as an outlier. And how the data is spread and how the data is related, and so and then visually explore that. So these are few of the parts of the exploratory data analysis. And from this perspective, the data science is the terminology which is coined, which is a multidisciplinary, so multidisciplinary field that uses scientific methods, processes, algorithms, and systems to extract the hidden knowledge or the insight from the data. So now, as I said, there are two kinds of data. One is called as the structured data and something is called as the unstructured data. So in case of the structured data, where the data is stored typically like in the SQLs and all, other things are unstructured data, which is data coming out of a log of a financial transaction, or coming from the sensors, or coming in the form of a blog and a social media. Most of them are like unstructured data. So here what we are going to do is we want to get the insight of the data, understand the pattern, and then see how the business can actually grow with this data, or understand this data and how we can serve our customer in a better way. So again, it is like there is a concept like, as you know, like data mining and big data, where the data is actually the regular data which is coming in. So can we put it and organized under various file systems, and then it could be analyzed. And also going forward with the data science, and we are going to also apply the machine learning algorithms to solve any kind of a problem. So when we see the data science broadly, there are two things. One is, as I told you, structured data and unstructured data. Earlier, till 2000, data was predominantly structured data. That means the data what was coming and what is being stored. One is it is less, and second one is it is more structured in nature. Now, because of the explosion of the internet, because of the explosion of the electronic gadgets and all those things, because of the social media and various other medias, the nature of the data has changed. Nowadays, we are getting many unstructured data. So handling this unstructured data is not, it is actually earlier also we have business intelligence tools. Now also it is there, but it needs a different approach to handle this kind of data. So that is what we are going to discuss when we see exploratory data analysis. And we had some BI tools, but the thing is now, because of the volume, variety of the data, so they may not be quite enough to handle this kind of data to get the meaningful insight. So from that perspective, like we are using exploratory data analysis in various fields, like be it healthcare, be it marketing. Marketing, say we want to know whether why customer has moved away from us. Suppose nowadays you have a lot of telecom operators, right? And also the mobile number portability is there. So a customer can move from one company to another company. Suppose if a customer is moving from one company to another company, we want to understand why he is moving. We call it as customer churn. So a company wants to know why he is moving. Okay, so they want to get all the probable data and then start analyzing the data. So is it because of my service, or is it competitor service are better, or what is that it is? it is happening. So that is one of the use cases of a exploratory data analysis or of a data science where exploratory data analysis is done. Other than that, typically it is used in the marketing for cross-selling and upselling. So what is the meaning of cross-selling and upselling is like, suppose that you have an account in a bank, and then based on the type of the transaction you do, suddenly you will get a call right from them saying that, okay, this is the product we have, we want to propose you this product, can you buy this product? Okay, that is upselling. And cross-selling is, suppose that same company has insurance as well as some other say stocks and trading business. So then also they will ask you like, can you go ahead with this, or they will market with you. So this data could be used for cross-selling, upselling, and other than that, it is used in the sales in terms of the forecasting and what is the effect of offering various discounts, healthcare in terms of predicting the disease and effective medication, and in case of travel industry, the dynamic pricing, and say in case of the insurance and all, where it could be used for the claim prediction, fraud and risk detection, and things like that. Also, other than that, the mobility, like self-driving cars and all, social media analysis, sentiment analysis, digital marketing. So a lot of areas, the data science is being used, from the traditional engineering to various other areas. So now, when someone wants to get into a data science, when they want to do a data science project, where it will start with? It all starts with the business requirement, right? It all starts with the business requirement. So let us take up a scenario. As I told you, a telecom company wants to know why customer is moving from a company, his company, to another company. So they wanted to know why, what is the reason, what is happening. So then probably then they will approach the business leaders, approach this business team, and they want to understand. The business teams then probably start a project to understand what is the purpose, why they are doing this. So it all starts with the business need, right? So that is what we call it as a business administration. It all starts with the business need. Then probably they approach some data analyst and a data scientist, and then they will say, okay, this is what is the problem, can you help me? So this is where the project starts, and then the data analyst, the data scientist will say, okay, fine, let me get please get me the data. So then he will ask, what are the different ways you have stored that customer information, and also get the information from social media, from various blogs, and where customer is talking about their product services. Okay, get all the data. So once the data is there in place, they gather the data from various sources, then they start what is called as the exploratory data analysis. So first they collect the data from various sources, put it in some kind of a format, and then see start analysis of the data. Analysis of the data in terms of what are the different information is captured here, and how one particular parameter is affecting another parameter. If something goes up, is another thing going down? Things like that. And also, is there any duplicate data? They will start cleansing the data. So most of the any machine learning project main activity is this exploratory data analysis, right? So once that is done, and then once they come up with a proper relationship, get the data, collect the data, gather the data, then they do visualization. So pictorially representing the data, understand the various parameters involved in the data, relationship between the data. Okay, and then what is the data which is necessary, not necessary, they will take out that data, or start with applying some kind of algorithms to understand the various the hidden patterns inside the data. So that is where the machine learning comes into picture. So once they know, okay, once this particular business requirement is can be fulfilled using some kind of an algorithm, then they will start testing the data, training the model, and then testing the data. And then everything is fine, then they go for the production. That is what we call it as the data product engineering. So exploratory data analysis is one of the part of the data science project, where machine learning is also one of the part of it. So this is what we are going to do. So here what we are using, blend of various tools, statistical analysis, algorithms, machine learning, to discover the hidden patterns from the raw data. And then that is what, and either it is we are going to predict the future or take the business decision. So that is where it will help you. So what kind of things we can do with that? We can do the causal analysis, or predictive causal analysis, or prescriptive causal analysis. Predictive causal analysis is like predicting. Suppose if someone wants to get a loan, so now with his data we can see whether if I give a loan, is that person is able to repay the loan, things like that. So the predicting the probability of getting a particular disease, if it is in a medical terminology or in the healthcare industry. Or the prescriptive analysis is on the go. So but as it is like runtime. So like the example could be like driverless car and self-driving car. So where on the go we have to take the decision and all. So these are the two things. One is the predictive causal analysis and the prescriptive. So and then this we will be using machine learning algorithms to make the prediction. And this is what is a typical life cycle of a data science project. It starts with the discovery phase. In this phase, the business requirements are set, the business goal. What is that? The aim of the starting the project. It all starts with that. Then the second is collecting the data. So once we collect the data from various sources, it could be in different formats. Something is in SQL, something maybe in Excel sheet, something maybe in a textual format. So various data is collected, gathered, and finally the preparation of the data preparation, and then put it into some kind of a format. And then analysis of the data. That is where the data exploration will come into picture. After that, the model planning. So how to build a model, which kind of algorithms to use, and things like that. And once it is done, the building the model and then testing out the result, checking the accuracy, and then put it for production. And again, communicate the result with the business team and see how this particular project is going on. And then again, periodically check and update and correct and rectify the issues. So this is what is a typical life cycle of a data science project. Okay. So now for that purpose, you have these different languages available. Like you have Python, you have R, you have SAS and all. So from this particular webinar perspective, we are going with the Python. So in the last webinar, I spoke about the Python, how to get started with Python, and what are the tools to download and how to use it and all. So Python, as you know, like it is one of the best suited programming language from the data science perspective. One is it is free and flexible and very powerful open source language. And second is there are a lot of libraries which are built on top of Python to help to solve many kind of a problem which arises from different industries, right? The libraries are built in, which is when you want to start a project, you have to start from the scratch. Already many kind of libraries are available to perform the data manipulation, analysis, and visualization. So we should first know like what are the libraries available and how to use of that. So in order to get into this data science. And also it has powerful libraries for the machine learning and other scientific computation. So that's why it is the most sought after, the language to get into the data science. So then from the perspective of data science, what are the kind of libraries which are required? So the one is, there are basically from the perspective of the data analysis, we look into three libraries. One is NumPy or NumPy, which is a numerical Python, which basically is a powerful n-dimensional array. It has the ability to manipulate the n-dimensional array, create, modify, list, manipulate, and then do a lot of operations on the n-dimensional array. So finally, the data, whatever the data is collected, finally it is stored in the form of an array, and preferably most of the data which is the machine can understand the numeric format, right? So the data is stored in the form of array. So there is a library which is built on top of it, which is a pandas, which is a two-dimensional array, and also it has one-dimensional. There are two things. One we call it as a series, another one is a data frame. So the data frame is somewhat similar to the Excel sheet where we are going to store the data in the form of a column and a row. Okay, that is very much suitable, and the data is tabular in nature, and that is used for the data manipulation and analysis. So cleaning the data, cleansing the data. So these are the various terminologies we will be using when we use when we use the pandas. And another library which we will be using is the matplotlib. Matplotlib is for the visualization. So matplot, like the scientific, what you can call it as a software is there, application is there from which is being used by the scientific community. In a similar fashion, in Python we have a matplotlib, which is used for the visualization. Visualization is to pictorially represent and understand the data. So we say a picture is worth of 1,000 words, right? So this is where we could be using this to plot the graphs and all. And when it comes to the machine learning, we will be using scikit-learn, which is again a library which is built on top of Python. And these are all open source libraries, so which we can make use of that. So in order to get the So from today, in today's webinar, I would be talking about the pandas and the matplotlib, and the NumPy is actually the pandas is built on top of the NumPy. So today we are discussing about pandas and matplotlib and how do we get started with this exploratory data analysis. So I explained you about the data science project, the life cycle. So now coming to the pandas. So pandas is used for the data manipulation and analysis. It has two data structures. One is one-dimensional array. We call it as a series. Another one is called as a data frame, which is a two-dimensional. And actually, in order to get started with the pandas, there is something called as the cheat sheet, which is released by, which is available in the net. So we can look at the cheat sheet and we can see like what are the, just to understand the dimensional array and how it is, and then we can get started with this. So this is what is the data frame. So if you look at this, for this, we will be using the library called pandas. And then the first thing is we have to import this particular library pandas. So import pandas as PD. And then it can store the one-dimensional array like this. One-dimensional array is like a list or an array in any other programming languages. In Python, it is like a list. Suppose I have this list 3 minus 5 7 4, and then I want to convert it into a series. Series is a one-dimensional array. So how to do this? Just I have to pass it to pandas.series, and this is the one-dimensional array. I'm going to use this, and you can also pass the indexes. So indexes are nothing but, so internally the one-dimensional array is going to create the index. So if you don't pass the index, it starts with 0 1 2 3, and also we can provide the indexes. So this is what we call it as a one-dimensional array. And we have other things called as the data frame. It is a two-dimensional array. It is similar to your Excel sheet, tabular data. For example, here I call this as the data frame. It has a column, 3 columns here. We have 3 rows, and the country and the capital and the population. This is a two-dimensional labeled data. The data is labeled, right? So it's population, capital. So how to create a the data frame is basically, it is nothing but a what you can call it as a dictionary. So in Python we have the dictionary data type, right? So in order to create a data frame, you should pass a dictionary to a data frame, and the dictionary is nothing but key value. Okay? So in order to represent this data, you can use the dictionary. See here, key is the country and the value is Belgium, India, and then this thing Brazil. Similarly, capital, and this is the value, and the population, this is the value. And then we can create a data frame from this. So by passing the data frame, also we can mention the columns if something different from this, or if you want to explicitly mention, you can mention. So you can do a lot of things. Suppose that now the data is available. Data is in the form of a comma separated value. So I want to read the data. I want to read it because see now the data is coming in the form of Excel or anything. So you can do a lot of input-output activities like reading the data from a CSV or Excel file and writing the data to creating a data in the form of an Excel file or a CSV file. So a lot of such actions are there, a lot of such activities that, and this particular library has so many built-in methods and built-in attributes. So just I will demonstrate you like how to get started with this data frame. Basically, you have the data and we want to read the data. Okay, so that is what we wanted to do. So in today's demo, I will be showing the demo using a Jupyter notebook. So we are going to see the demo in the Jupyter notebook. So for the purpose of demo, what I have done is I have created some programs. I created a this thing directory called EDA, exploratory data analysis, and from this I'm going to start this. I'm going to use a Jupyter notebook. Which I downloaded from the it is part of the Anaconda. So in order to start this, those who are not attended the last webinar, so here what we are doing is I'm downloading Jupyter notebook for Windows. Jupyter notebook for Windows. Sorry, Anaconda. First we are going to download Anaconda. In Anaconda, Jupyter notebook. Anaconda. So the Anaconda has Jupyter notebook. So Anaconda has the Jupyter notebook. I request you to mute yourself. I request someone is actually 1 minute. Okay, please unmute.
Arjun, yes, sorry, I'll go unmute.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we were doing the exploratory data analysis. So I told you about like downloading the Anaconda, right? And then this is where you can download the Anaconda, and it's a 64-bit installer. You can download the Anaconda. If you download and install the Anaconda, it actually has a Jupyter notebook in this. So if you set the path and everything, you should be able to open the Jupyter notebook. So I will be doing the program in this folder. So first I have to go to the command prompt. And then I will be using Jupyter notebook. So it opens up the Jupyter notebook. So once it opens up the Jupyter notebook, let me say I want to get started with this. So just one program I will start typing, and then otherwise I have ready-made programs. I will explain that. So first we will start with the new Python 3. So then I am going to give the title. I'm calling Pandas demo. So if you look at the cheat sheet, so this cheat sheet is available. You can see like Pandas cheat sheet. So this Pandas cheat sheet is available from DataCamp. So this is what is the cheat sheet I'm talking about. So you can download this cheat sheet, and which basically has various, you can call it as, you will get a brief information about this cheat sheet. Okay, so this is where the cheat sheet I'm actually opened. I have opened that cheat sheet, and this is what I'm going to do. So first thing is to import the Pandas SPD, right? So this is the library which you have to import. So we have to import and then run it. So the Pandas library. Just I'm referring to the cheat sheet, and actually I'm doing this. So this is the library which we are talking about. Once we do that, the next thing is to create a one-dimensional array. In order to create a one-dimensional array, this is how you can create. You can create a one-dimensional array. So here PD is the pandas dot series. It is a one-dimensional array. So this is a list I am passing. If you can also pass the index. If the index is not there, by default it is going to create like 0, 1, 2, 3 and all. And you can print the yes. This is what is the one dimension. So by default, numerical data is taken as like integer 64. If it is a whole number, the data type is this. So this is what I am talking about, the one-dimensional array. Similarly, you can create a two-dimensional array. So two-dimensional array is like where the input for the series is a list. Input for the data frame is nothing but it is a dictionary. So it is a dictionary. So this is the dictionary. Dictionary is nothing but the key value pair. So this is the key value pair. Right? If I say data, it is nothing but it is going to print this. So this is a dictionary key and a value. Key is a string and the value is a list. And you can pass this to the, you can pass this to the data frame, or you can create a data frame by passing this to the data frame constructor. So this is what we are doing. So when you run it, so this is where you can get it, and this is the data frame. Okay, so this is a data frame, country, capital, right? So population and all. So you can have so many things. df.shape. If I say it is going to give me how many rows and how many records are there, df.shape. And if you want to know type of, you have type of df. It will tell you what it is. It says it is a Pandas core frame data frame. It is a data frame. And then you can say df.country. You can list the columns. There are many such attributes and many such functionalities are available in the Pandas. Okay, this is what when we say when we are learning Pandas, so we will be learning to use the various functionalities associated with the Pandas library. So this is how we get started with the Pandas, and then you can start exploring the data. So basically the data, I will show you like how to look at the data, how to read the data, how to analyze the data and all in the next thing. So I have prepared few of the programs. So this is what the Pandas basic I have prepared. Okay, so this is the series which I did. This is a series and then a data frame. Okay. And let us say I want to create a data frame related to IPL, let us say. So one is we can create like this player, who is the player and what are the teams. So which are the different teams and the runs. So it is like a dictionary, key value pair, key value pair. So like this, you can create a, what you can call it as the dictionary. You can create a dictionary and then pass it to a data frame. Okay, so I have to run the import. Okay, let us say I wanted to understand some of the data which we have, and let us see how do we get started with this. So I have next is the data related to corona. Let us say I have a data which is corona related data. How do we get started with this? What are the things we can do with this? So I have this data, collected this data from the Kaggle. So, you know, like Kaggle is a website where a very famous website for the data scientist, data analyst and all. And periodically they will be conducting various hackathons, competitions, and all those things. That is a very good place where for an aspiring data scientist to look for. Okay, so let us say I have actually downloaded some data from there. So this is the state-wise data. So let me just show you the data. So this is the data. So this data is what is collected, and this is the data of corona, some days previous data, not as on today. So this was collected some time back, like in January and all, January 2020, that time, March, January, I mean, May and all. So what are the things it has? It has the fields like the states and total confirmed cases, recovered cases, death cases, active cases. So now everyone is aware of this. And the head state migrated, and then other details, right? So other details we have delta confirm and things like that. So we have so many information available. Suppose I want to get started with analysis of the data. How do we get started with analysis? And be it this kind of data, or be it sales data, or any other business data, we can start analyzing this. This is what is the data which has come. So in order to analyze this, what first we have to do is we have to download, I mean, we have to import the libraries. Say like I have to import the pandas. Now there is a method called read CSV. So in one go, you can read this data. So assume that you are doing a program in Java or any other programming language. See, it is not in one line. You cannot just read some information, right? File, input stream and all, read the data. You have to have a libraries associated with that and all. So here, much faster, much easier, much simpler. So just in no time, you can just read huge data. So this is what we are doing. We are reading the data state-wise. And once we read the data, in real scenario, what happens? There are many, what you can call it as data may not be very less data, it will be huge data when you are working on a real kind project. So then first we will see few records. So here I say data.head, it is going to show me the top first 5 records. See the first 5 records. And then you have, similarly, you have tile, which is going to show the last 5 records. Okay. So, and also the shape is going to tell me how many data is there and what is the data type and what are the columns available. Okay, things like that. And then I can select only the data which is of interest. So state, confirmed, recovered, death and active. I am not interested in other data. I'm interested in this data. So then you can start understanding what are the data types of each of the fields. So now I want to only search for the data specific to a state. Suppose I want to search for the data of Karnataka, then I can say data.state Karnataka. It is going to give me the data associated with Karnataka. Okay, so like this, you can get the data associated with any particular state. The way we write the SQL queries, most of the things you can do here, like checking them, and then creating another column, another column, and then doing the aggregate functions. Okay, finding the maximum, minimum, average, doing some kind of a statistical analysis. All those things are possible. So we have some functions like LOC, which is basically trying to get the data, which are the labeled data it is going to get. So here it is going to get all the data, all the rows and all the columns. We can get some specific columns, specific data. So this is where we start the data analysis. And then what we do is, if you look at this, yeah, display on few records. I wanted to find the maximum. Okay, which state has the highest maximum cases? I want to know. Or which state has the lowest cases? So this kind of analysis you can do. You have maximum, minimum, and kind of things. Suppose I say data filter dot confirm maximum. So the maximum is like at that point in time, the Maharashtra was having the maximum confirmed cases and all. Okay, and also you can check the minimum. So much of the things which you do in the SQLs can be done here. Data filtered, and then you can do. Okay, you want to know like death versus confirmed cases. What is the percentage? What is the percentage? So there may be like state may be very big. So obviously the numbers may be big, number of cases, but there are some states which is small. The population is small, but maybe number of death may be more. So we wanted to do that kind of analysis and all. So those kind of things we can do. So we can go, and also we check like if there is any null data, because when we say data analysis, you come across with many kind of data which is what you can call it as, which is data is missing, field is missing, and also like duplicate data. So those cleansing activities you can do with the pandas. Okay, this is what we will be doing. And then we are doing like replace. If it is any null is there, what you want to do, you can take the approach, whether you take some median and replace that, or replace it as 0, or what is that approach you want to take, you can do it. So like this we can start the analysis of the data. So here we are telling if fill NA, that means if the value is like we are filling NA with the null with the 0. So like this you can proceed further and can start the analysis. So these are the few of the things you can get started with the data analysis. This is one of the libraries which we are using, pandas. So like this we have other things like matplotlib and all. So let me just check a quick check. Okay, so today actually, in fact, we have started a bit late. So is it okay? I can continue 15 more minutes. Just let me check. For 15 more minutes. We started late. Just let me check with you people. Okay, so I think silence is the acceptance. So okay, fine. Ravi Kiran is saying fine. Okay. So this is the first part of it. There are many functionalities as are there with the what is called as the pandas. So just I'm touching the surface and just we are showing that this is what can be done with the pandas. So the next thing is like then we have for the visualization you have matplotlib. So suppose if you want to see like some other data kind of a thing, you have, suppose I have some sales data. So this is collected data from a superstore. Okay, so we have a lot of data is available, and then you can get you can start analysis. And the data is also available in the Kaggle. Here we have big data, huge data, like around around nearly 1,000 records. So the first thing is to collect the data. Okay, data can come from various sources. That is what, and then after that, what we will be doing is we will be doing the we are starting with the matplotlib. So matplotlib is where it is used for the as you know, like graphical visualization. Suppose if I want to tell you the basics of the matplotlib, so again, this is the library which we have to import. So you can draw various kind of graphs. The one is like bar chart. So here for this, we have to import matplotlib, pyplot as PLT. This is what is the library, matplotlib in that pyplot. And then matplotlib, like it is a graph, like the way we did the graph, right? When they were high school and all. So similarly, like if you want to do the graph, here, there are different kinds. One is the bar chart. I'm passing the x-axis, x value and y value. And then if I say show, then it is going to create this bar chart by the values of x being 1, 2, 3, 4, and the y being whatever the value we had given. So then you can also put what you can call it as a title, the labels, X label, Y label, and things like that, different colors. See here the marks scored by various students. Suppose out of 10, so these are the marks, these are the students, and this is the marks. So you can give the title like simple bar chart, and then the X label like students, and then the Y is math score, and then you can do like this. Okay, this is what you can do, and then you have to show the values of the label on the top. If I want to do the label on this top, like I want to see what is the value, or to do some kind of a mathematics, you have to find the height, and then you have to find the X value, which is the mid of this, and then you have to put it. So those kind of things possible. Here you are saying like we are getting the height, and then we want to put the text at the X value, which is at the midpoint of this bar, and the Y value is on the top. So this is where you can do the alignment, and also like now you can see like Ravi's scores and all. So a lot of things we can do with the matplotlib, and also we are going to draw the horizontal bar graph. This is where we can do the horizontal. Okay, the horizontal bar graph you can do, and you can do the line graph. So you can also use the pandas only. Pandas also has some plot. You can use the pandas plot also, or matplotlib. So here we are drawing the line graph of year versus sale. The year versus sale. This is what we are going to draw. Drawing the of year versus sale. And then you can add multiple lines in the graph. Like we wanted to draw, compare. See, product A sales, product B sales. Suppose if I want to draw some kind of a graph, so first is we have to get the data. So this is like again a data frame dictionary. It is a key value for these years. This is the products sales of the product A, and this is the sales of the product B. Then we can multi-line plot. So the first we are going to plot this year, and then the product sales A, and then product sales B. So this is what you can do it, and then set the axis. So you can do this kind of thing. Also the scatter plot, like just for putting all the points on the x-axis and the y-axis. So if you are using a map, what you can call it as the pandas has something like a kind scatter. So based on this is a scatter kind of a graph you have. And other than that, you can do pie chart, and there are many other histograms, bar charts. So many such things you can do. Okay, so this is the what is called as the pie chart. So this is again when you want to start your journey in the machine learning or data science. So these are the two libraries, and also you should be knowing what is called as the NumPy. NumPy also would be helpful. So once you do this, so that the thing is first is you have to get started with this. So you want to get started. The first thing is like you have to learn the Python. That's the basic thing. Once you learn the Python, then you should start with pandas, matplotlib, and then bit more deeper. You can go into the NumPy. So once it is done, then you can get into the machine learning. So the machine learning stuff that I will be discussing in the next class. Next tomorrow's session. Tomorrow's session I will be taking the machine learning and how to do it. Also, there are a lot of, as I told you, like there's a lot of information is also available in the Kaggle. Suppose if it's a Kaggle website, then you can say you have a lot of data, corona for forecasting. Many people are actually working on these kind of problems. and you can also get the data set there, and you can see how people are working on this, what approach they are doing, how they are trying to do this data analysis and all. So suppose this is a computation, and then you can see how people started this. So data is also made available. From that they will start the analysis. So you can also get the notebooks, which is the Jupyter notebook, and you can see this is a Kaggle computation. See global forecasting of the Kaggle computation. And you can look into this, and you can see like how people started using this. Then the notebook. So this is the notebook. Okay, so same thing like whatever I did. So they are also doing the same thing, getting the data, started analyzing the data. Like, so this is what is the many computation is happening, and see the libraries they have used, and then the data set. So this is the data set is made to them. You can also download the data set. You can start explore, experiment, and make your hands dirty. So this is a very interesting journey, and anybody can get into this. Not that only the computer science students or people from different backgrounds can do it. So nowadays, people from different life of engineering or different streams are needed. So this analysis is required for any kind of a business, and it is not very difficult to learn. It's but you can definitely learn and you can get started. So the thing is like the learning path is like you can start with Python and then get into data science, and just start with pandas and then NumPy and then matplotlib. So just the last 55 to 60 minutes. So I was just started make you understand like how to use this the pandas, and then the small things not fully covered. So the matplotlib also has a cheat sheet like where you can get started with this. Like quickly you can understand and you can do it. So there are some cheat sheets available for the matplotlib also. So these are the few of the things which you can download and start exploring on this. So this is where how to get started with matplot. So whatever I demonstrated, it is there. So you can create a matplotlib, and then you can start drawing the various graphs with this. So with that, actually, let me just check with you in case you have any questions. And also, we are starting a course on this. From Upskill, right, is starting a course, and you can check our website, and yeah.
Good, sir.
Yeah.
1 minute. I'll share the screen.
Yeah, sure. Let me stop sharing the screen. Yeah. Okay. So you have any doubts or anything, please put it in the chat window. I should be able to answer that. You can see. Yeah.
Hi guys. So this is a website. If you go a webinar here now, you can find the today's recording. You'll find Facebook also. You can find YouTube also. And we're running a full-time batch. So if you're interested, you can enroll for the full-time course.
Okay, I think your voice is breaking something. Let me just you can mute yourself. I think there is disturbance. I will inform them. Yeah, keep this here only. Mute yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, keep that screen. Okay, you keep that screen. Yeah. Okay. So guys, what Mr. Arjun is going to say is like these live sessions, what you can call it as the recordings, will be put onto the Skill Upright website, and then you can download these things. And also we are coming up with a course on machine learning and Python, and it starts from January 23rd, and it is for the people who are into IT industry, and for that purpose we are having a weekend batch, and it's 12 days, 12 days of course. Totally it is 60-hour course, and we will be starting from January 23rd. So you want to enroll, you can enroll, and it's available at a discounted price for the people who are attending our webinars and all. Okay, and I think Arjun sir, just can you check like the previous webinar video is not coming properly? Can you check that and can you update that, the last this thing, because when I checked it was not coming. Yeah, you can check and you can upload that.
Sure. I'll do that.
Yeah. Okay. So if you have any queries, you can reach out to us. I think the number is given in the website. Okay, so you can reach out to us. So it's Skill Upright. Yeah, this is the link. Just I will share the website, and that you can reach out to us. So you have any doubt, feel free to reach out to us, and then we look forward to keep again tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be discussing about machine learning. Yeah. Okay. It is not coming in the first recording. Yeah, first recording, that's what I told. So we will be correcting that, and then we will be uploading that along with this recording. Okay, Ahmad Basha, thanks. Anyone else has any doubts, please feel to ask us. Okay. Yeah, in case you don't have any doubt, okay, thanks again for joining the session. Looking forward for you to join tomorrow's session, and where we will be discussing about the machine learning. So please inform about this to your friends and relatives. So it will be a really interesting session tomorrow also. Thanks for attending.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks. We will be uploading these recordings, and then see you tomorrow. So I will stop the session.